We're compelled to ask for this urgent meeting as the situation in Afghanistan has been rapidly deteriorating due to recent escalation of violence by the Taliban and their brutal military offensives on major cities and population centers in several provinces. The Taliban have launched brutal military offensives, already causing massive death, destruction, displacement, and instability in Afghanistan and beyond. What is even more alarming is their attacks on cities, including Kandahar, Herat, Lashkargah, Ghazni, Shebran, and Zaranj as of yesterday. Millions of people are now vulnerable to indiscriminate shelling, death, injuries, destruction, and displacement. Our cities and public infrastructure that we have rebuilt with your support over the past 2 decades are now exposed to unimaginable level of Taliban destruction. Since mid-April, the Taliban and their affiliate foreign terrorist groups have launched more than 5,500 attacks in 31 of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. These attacks have been launched with direct support of more than 10,000 foreign fighters representing 20 groups, including Al-Qaeda, LET, TTP, IMU, ETIM, and ISIL, who entered our country and are fighting alongside Taliban against our population and security forces. And we are extremely concerned about the safety and security of people in cities under Taliban attacks and what brutality would await them. But shocking and heart-wrenching images and videos of Taliban's brutality and cruelties against civilian population and people suspected of working for the government and international forces are emerging in social media, which are too graphic to even describe them in my statement here. The Taliban, contrary to their commitments under their Doha Agreement, have not broken ties with their regional and international terrorist organizations. And those who encourage and participate with them, of course, are the beneficiaries. Therefore, this is not a civil war, but a war of criminalized and terrorist networks fought on the back of Afghans. Importantly, the Taliban continue to enjoy a safe haven in and supply and logistic line extended to their war machine from Pakistan. We urge Pakistan to help with removing and dismantling of Taliban sanctuaries and supply line and establish with us a joint monitoring and verification mechanism to make the fight against terrorism and international efforts for peace effective and credible. Let me reiterate here that Afghanistan desires nothing but friendly relation and peaceful coexistence with Pakistan based on mutual respect for each other's sovereignty. The fall of 10 border crossings to the Taliban has led to suspension of trade and a surge in prices of primary goods, which is further adding to the misery of the population affected by decades of conflict. Taliban attacks have also come with a great cost to public infrastructure, signifying losses of millions of dollars and years of development investment. During this period, the Taliban have destroyed more than 260 public buildings, including schools, hospitals, bridges, and communication towers. Taliban's destruction of public and private infrastructure has deprived over 13 million people of public services and has amounted to more than $500 million of damage. And achieving peace is the uppermost priority for the Afghan government. To realize this, President Ghani has repeatedly called on the Taliban to adhere to a ceasefire and engage in meaningful negotiations. To support the peace talks, my government has offered a peace plan and made painful concessions, including the release of over 6,000 prisoners of Taliban, most of whom have returned to battlefields. Since the start of their offensive, more than 5,300 civilians, including 1,960 women and children, have been killed and injured, while thousands other have been displaced. This adds to the burden of approximately 4.8 million people displaced in a country and 8.4 million people who are in need of humanitarian assistance. These numbers could easily increase exponentially if attacks against big population centers and cities continue unabated. Therefore, the Council must act and prevent a catastrophic situation.